Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick warning before we begin, you should screen on mute the title of the first story on this video if you are watching this video with children present. Also, today's video has two stories and both of them have updates. Now, let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user GFJQ23. Me, 32 female, posted on Facebook about Santa Claus not being real. My niece, 13 female, is a Facebook friend and is now devastated. Sister, 36 female, is furious with me. I can't believe I even need to post this, but here we go. I posted that old Deadpool meme where he tells kids about sex and says how Santa isn't real. My niece, who just turned 13, has a Facebook account that is about a week old. I honestly forgot I even have her as a friend. So, a while after my post, my sister calls me furious. Apparently, she had to come clean to both my nieces, the other one is 11, and now they are so upset they couldn't go to school today. I told her I thought she had told them years ago about Santa not being real, but I still felt bad and apologized. She says that isn't good enough and that I need to publicly say how Santa is real and provide proof to my nieces about how I believe Santa is real. I refuse. I think they are far too old to be believing in Santa still. My mother and father sided with my sister, saying I shouldn't ruin my niece's Christmas. For F's sake, it is months away still, and take away their childhood prematurely. What? So I just sent an email saying I am sorry the incident happened and that my nieces are hurting, but that I am not going to pretend Santa exists because I feel that is an unreasonable request. My parents have said they are disappointed with me, and my sister said that until I agree to lie about Santa, that she is going no contact with me. Am I wrong that 13 and 11 are both fine ages to stop believing in Santa? I get that they are all upset, but isn't this an inevitable part of growing up? Usually, my family is reasonable, so I'm a bit shocked about this, honestly. My sister and her family aren't even Christian, and yes, I know Santa isn't a Christian thing, but Christmas is a Christian holiday. We never really made a big deal of Christmas beyond eating good food and opening a few gifts. Wow, OP, I feel like I'm sitting right next to you on our train towards Crazy Town because yeah, this is wow. Look, I totally understand creating and encouraging a world of fantasy like that for young kids. Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, Tooth Fairy, all of that. And I think it's joyful and actually a child's amazement about these things make all of those celebrations much more enjoyable. At least for me. But 13 and 11? Yeah, I would think that's way too old to be believing in these kind of things. I mean, if you want to split hairs, sure, we can have a debate about the 11-year-old, but the 13-year-old, come on. But regardless of that, I find your sister's attitude troubling, OP. I mean, we're talking about a 36-year-old woman, an adult, mother of two, that apparently is throwing a tantrum with some emotional extortion there that if you don't agree that Santa exists and actually lie and make up some sort of proof because your nieces are crying about it, I'm sorry to burst their bubble, but come on, life is life. Nah. So yeah, OP, in my opinion, your sister's acting way out of bounds and is actually not doing a favor at all for her children. Which is why if I was in your shoes, I would stick to my guns. I'm not gonna be browbeat into saying something I don't believe just cause my sister's having a tantrum and my parents are being unreasonable. No. And what do you guys think about this situation? What would you do if you were in OP's shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Lonnie Lee 3 says, your sister is having difficulty with her daughters growing up. If the kids really still believed in Santa, then she has been keeping them ignorant or innocent to a degree that borders on abusive. Do the girls know the Easter Bunny and the Tooth Fairy aren't real either? Your parents are enabling your sister's weirdness. I guess you could post that, yes Virginia, there's a Santa Claus letter, but I surely wouldn't do anything more than that. Your sister should be more worried about the 13-year-old finding a baby in the Cabbage Patch than leaving milk and cookies for a man in a red suit. Reddit says, oh god, the damage is done. If I were the kid, I would be upset. However, I would be even more upset if my mom makes my aunt to lie about such a silly thing. They are about to turn into adults. Kids also want to be respected like adults. Maybe you can schedule a date with your nieces and tell them in person about how sorry you are, but they are going to know the truth. If I were a kid, I would rather my aunt to come clean and treat me as an equal than to perpetuate a silly lie. Crackle says, lol, those kids are milking this devastating news. Smart kids. Let these weirdos go no contact. They'll drop it eventually, especially if they have to explain it to anyone outside of the family that this is about Santa's existence. Everyone seems to think this is about your nieces, but I bet you a few counterfeit notes that this has nothing to do with your nieces. And Opie responds, you don't really know my nieces. They love school so much that if they get sick, they cry all day that they can't go to school. My oldest niece broke her arm in first period gym last year and insisted on going back to school after they casted it. They would never intentionally miss school just for a free day. And Ninja Cherry says, 13 is actually pretty late to be believing in Santa. If the parents are uncomfortable with her reading about some real-world topics, then they might want to keep track of her Facebook and asking her not to be friends with adults. It's not everyone else's job to be filtering themselves about everything that they say. That's the parents' role. It would have been okay for her to be upset if you were making inappropriate, violent, crass, or overly sexual comments that your niece would have access to. But mentioning Santa not being real isn't quite in that category. And Opie responds, how would it be understandable for her to be upset at violent or crass comments on my Facebook page? Not that I would, because you never know who's looking, but that is beside the point. I can post whatever the hell I want on my Facebook page. If she didn't want her kids seeing that, then they can defriend me or get rid of Facebook. I don't need to watch my language or posts just because a kid might see them. Additional information from Opie's comments. I think this is my sister not accepting her kids growing up. I'm thinking about upgrading my car and asked if she wanted me to keep my old but still great car for my nieces. My sister got really weird about it and told me they didn't need a car, so I should sell it. I asked if she was sure since 3 years isn't that far away and it's a car in an okay condition. I could just give it to them. She shut me down, saying she didn't want to talk about it anymore, and besides, my oldest niece hit puberty years ago. And one thing that I still can't place in all of this is that my sister is a very sex-positive parent. My nieces know all about sex, birth control, and stuff like that. So sex is okay when they are ready for it, but Santa Claus not being real is a horrible thing? What the F? It's not like I'm putting up not safe for work posts or anything like that. However, I have no responsibility for what kids see or hear. It is the parents' responsibility to explain anything that is confusing. Am I supposed to curve my conversations in public? When I go out to eat with friends, topics include a wide range of adult subjects and vulgarity. Oh well, I guess I'll just wait until she calms down, though why my parents are on her side is baffling. I mean, we're in our 30s. I'm ticked they feel like they need to be involved. We are well into adulthood. Well, maybe not my sister. Still, I'm thinking I'll take both my nieces out for a welcome to adulthood spa day, once I'm allowed to talk to them again anyway, lol. Opie's edit. So, my niece sent me a text from school asking why her mom was mad at me. I said it was over the whole Santa thing, and she said, "That's stupid, who still believes in Santa?" So yeah, I called my sister out on this whole BS situation and for making up lies and try to make me feel bad. She called my parents crying, so my parents told me their standard line of having me be the bigger person and patch things up. Not this time. I told them to quit sticking their noses into an argument that has nothing to do with them. But honestly, I'm so pissed that they can F off for a while. I'm not responding to anyone unless I get an apology. Opie's edit 2. Welcome to Crazy Town. The following is a chat exchange between my sister and me. My sister said, "I can't believe you responded to niece after I told you not to talk to her. It's disrespectful to me." And I said, "You mean you are just upset you got caught in a lie?" "It wasn't a lie. It was a justified exaggeration to prove a point." "What effing point?" "That your words and actions on Facebook have consequences." Let me get this straight. You won't let me talk to my nieces because I posted a meme about Santa not existing even though they don't believe in Santa anymore? What if they were younger? They aren't. What the F kind of logic is that? I can't talk to you when you're being unreasonable and refuse to see the point. Okay, well, good luck with that. When you are ready to apologize, you can send me a message.
What the F do I have to apologize for? I don't even know why you're upset when I'm the only one with the right to be upset here.
Figure it out. OP's edit number 3. You know, this isn't normal behavior for my sister. I reached out to my brother-in-law and he says he's been concerned the past few days. It's been like a switch has flipped and she started acting nuts. He's going to make her an appointment with their doctor. It might just be stress, but never hurts to check it out. Alright, well, the community gave OP some things to think about, particularly about her sister hanging on to her children growing up, and OP seems to agree with that, of course, as we saw in the additional context, but then OP's edits just sent us on a roller coaster ride with that welcome to Crazy Town and then the whole doctor thing. So I guess at this point I have no idea what's expecting us in the update. So let's not waste any more time and move on to see what happened next, but of course before that you know that here's another one of my playlists for you to enjoy after this video. Now let's move on with the update. They did an MRI and nothing showed up. They did some blood work which looked fine, except for some elevated cholesterol. She isn't pregnant. They pretty much wrote her off as a crazy person and sent her to a psychologist for stress. After a session, the psychologist told her to do some deep breathing and sent her away as fixed. She got worse. She stopped sleeping and barely ate, yet still gained weight. Any small annoyance would send her into a rage. Commercials were making her so upset she would ugly cry. I asked my brother-in-law if they tested hormone levels or anything like that, and he said the doctors didn't feel it was necessary. Then she called me one day crying and apologizing that she was the worst sister ever and I had every right to hate her. She was so devastated she ruined our relationship and such. It was weird and not my sister. So when I got a chance to speak to her, I told her she was going to go see my doctor and I wasn't taking no for an answer. I set up an appointment and my doctor ordered a full blood panel including hormones and vitamins before my sister drove to town for her appointment. When my sister drove up, we spent the morning shopping and she was unpredictable. One minute she was happy and the next yelling about some perceived slight.
That effing pretentious makeup counter bitch just looked at me funny for my cheap drugstore makeup.
I was uncomfortable, so I just walked on eggshells to keep her from exploding. Anyway, the results of the blood work and a good doctor. Perimenopause. I thought maybe thyroid, which is why I sent her to my doctor. I have Hashimoto's and my doctor specializes in it and other autoimmune diseases. Anyway, her hormones are completely abnormal. None of her doctors would even consider it because she was too young for menopause, so they didn't even bother running the tests. She'll be coming up with a care plan with my doctor for hormone replacement therapy and diet change to get back on track, hopefully. She is still a nutcase right now. For example, she called me crying the other night because she will never have more kids. What? Her husband had a vasectomy years ago. I'm driving to her place next weekend and we're going to batch cook a bunch of meals for her new diet plan. I'll be doing it with her as I could stand to eat healthier. Paleo is what the doctor recommended. So it'll be a slow process, but we have a diagnosis and plan. I'm just taking her outbursts as crazy hormones right now because it'll take a while to even out. I got her a dark chocolate cake for Easter that said, "Happy Reverse Easter, when the Easter Bunny takes back your eggs," because I'm kind of a jerk. She thought it was hilarious though, so we're good. She's still my sister and I wasn't going to cut her off for something as minor as a fight about Santa. Hopefully she'll find her normal, or a new normal, but as long as that normal isn't kill all the things, we can manage. Edit to add, my parents won't apologize for being disappointed in me, and honestly, to me, it's meh. They've done a lot for me and I had an awesome childhood, I can't complain. I'm an adult and fight my own battles no matter what their input is. I don't need apologies. Wow, I definitely did not see that coming. I just thought it was entitlement, but I was very much proven wrong. OP, you are awesome. You're a great sister. You stood by your sister. You knew something was wrong and you went with your gut. And that's why I'm gonna call it a positive update because we're not on the happy part yet, but I think you guys are on the right track, so congratulations on that, OP. And here's wishing you and your sister all the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. Now let's finish this video with a short story that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole and it's by user ThemThrowAwayStaken. Am I the a-hole for refusing my boss to propose to his girlfriend at my wedding? I, 24 male, am getting married in 2 weeks. I have invited my boss to my wedding. Yesterday, he asked me if I could tell my wife, 21 female, to give her bouquet to his girlfriend, which is one of the bridesmaids, rather than throw it in the air and he'll propose then. The thing is, I can adjust to this, but a few years ago my fiance looked at one of these types of videos on Facebook and said, "This is bad. People shouldn't even ask the bride for help doing this," and put her in a dilemma. We were friends back then. So I said no to my boss without asking her. He got really angry and said I didn't even ask my wife to be, and I'm bending in front of her even before marriage. What will happen when I'll get married, etc. He said he would get the perfect scenery for the proposal and all. Am I the a-hole for ruining this for my boss? We're getting married at a very beautiful place owned by her aunt, so it could make nice memories for him. No, Opie, you are not the a-hole for saying no, and your bride is absolutely right. I don't think people should be proposing to their significant others at other people's wedding. It's disrespectful to the bride and groom. I would say that the only situation in which this can happen and it would be okay is if both the bride and groom have agreed that this is a good thing and they've proposed it. Nobody's requested it or asked for it. And I'm pretty sure that almost never happens. So yeah, Opie, no, you're not the a-hole for standing by your bride, and yeah, he is the huge a-hole for trying to pit you against her. Seriously, he sounds like a huge douche. Anyways, what do you guys think about this thing? What is your judgment? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see their judgment. Next Muffin 1576 says, "Not the a-hole. He's your boss, not a close relative or friend. So I consider asking to propose at a wedding pretty rude. But he became the a-hole for getting angry at you and insulting you and your wife. He just wants a cheap proposal with zero effort. I bet his girlfriend would be mortified if she knew about his plans to propose at his employee's wedding." I Like Seals a Lot says, "Not the a-hole. I am kind of confused why he thinks it is appropriate for him to even ask about this, especially since there is a clear power dynamic at play. That aside, wedding etiquette, yada yada yada, and him being kind of a douche. You don't propose at others' weddings if you aren't insanely close and it hasn't been approved by both partners. Right of refusal in this case. You can do on your own without stressing your wife about this. This is about nice memories for you and your wife to be first and foremost, and if it ruins that, he can't propose." No Recognition 3929 says, "Not the a-hole, 1,000 times over. You don't propose at someone else's wedding. Seriously, people, isn't this common knowledge by now?" Also, I liked that he said, "You didn't even ask your fiancé," as if it's not your wedding as well. If you and or your fiancé don't want him to propose, the only acceptable response from your boss is, "Okay, no problem." Maybe you can ask your aunt if she would be willing to let him and his girlfriend visit her place or something, but his proposal is not your problem. Mom to Girls says, "Not the a-hole, but I would talk to your DJ and other vendors to decline any requests about specific songs to another couple because you don't want proposals to happen at your wedding. And to tell your groomsmen to be on the lookout for your boss if they see he's about to propose, tell them to kick him out discreetly so as not to alert your wife. Edit. Tell your boss that if he does decide to propose against your wishes, that you will invoice him for that proposal on your event, and that you have that ready to hand out right at the wedding." Opie's edit. "Wifey is very kind and goes out of her way to help people. I'm afraid if I tell her, she'll say yes for her friend against her own wishes. I want to give her the wedding she deserves. That's why I didn't go to her with this. Also, wife-to-be is the major breadwinner. She's very intelligent and highly respected. I am the dumb one. I know she will ask me to leave my job if my boss pressures me, but I don't want to sit on my ass all day while she works. I want to get a new job after we settle down a bit. I want to give her the world. Finally, I am overwhelmed by the kindness you guys have shown and the time you have taken to make sure my wedding goes smoothly. This is what I'm going to do. Tell my fiancé and start looking for a new job. I'll update you on what happens." Alright, well, the community obviously thinks that OP is not the a-hole, rightfully so, and has given him some things to think about, which apparently he will and wants to do. So let's move on to the update to see how that goes. Hey guys, I wanted to thank you all for the advice you gave me. So, I decided to tell my wife about it. We were taking some me time apart before the wedding, so I went over for dinner and explained everything. She was happy because I remembered something she said years ago, but said we should not feel hesitant to tell each other anything now that we're getting married. I have promised her to be more open about everything from now onwards. Also, the boss was invited, but I had warned him not to do anything. He didn't propose, and my groomsmen were on a-hole duty. Also, I have since left the job for good, and we had a very beautiful wedding. I am here controlling myself from sharing every single detail because I feel you all have become my friends. We sang our favorite songs and cried at the first look. I love being a husband. I love when she comes home to me. I love our little family, us and our cats. Our honeymoon had to be postponed, but we're going after a couple of days. After that, I'm going to start a new job. Wish me luck. Well, OP, this is awesome. All good things for you. You got married, you got a new job, you ditched the a-hole. So congratulations on everything, the wedding, the new job, and dropping the a-hole. So have fun in your honeymoon, and here's wishing you and your wife all the best in the future. Take care, OP, and thank you for sharing. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out. So here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button.